Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Laid back Joel here. Today we're going to do an unboxing and instructional video on the Bangarang. I know normally you wouldn't have to do that on a yo-yo, but this thing's it's a little bit of a different creature, so we figured we might as well go over all the different options, all the ways you can build it, and yeah, go from there. So might as well dive in here. When you open up your package, the first thing you're going to come across here is, of course, the throw in a nice 3D printed box. Now, we design and create these in-house. Everything is literally done here for them, including the bearing tools, which we make by hand, the handles which go into them, the whole works. Like, all of this is done with my handwork, my wife's handwork, and our little machines that we have. You will find a card right away. All of the Bangarangs are done up for the response with the MFD monkey snot. Now, there's no sense in trying to re-engineer what's already perfect. Ray does an amazing job with this stuff. His snot response is nice and snappy. It's perfect, exactly where you need it. It lasts almost forever. Like, you'll rarely ever have to redo it. If you do, just head on over to his website there. You can pick this stuff up pretty cheap. A tube will usually do, between 8 and 10 throws kind of thing, minimum. Might even be more, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's really great little stuff here. So every Bangarang comes done up with the monkey finger snot, and it also comes with one of Ray's strings done. Now, these are all done in a pink and yellow to go with it. It's kind of fun with the 90s theme. Absolutely love them. So that's what you get in the box. Yeah, there's no sense in changing what's great already. It's a nice production poly string. Ray does a great job on them. And yeah, no sense in needing to change it. So like I said, Monkey Finger Ray, hit him up if you ever need some of that, more of that monkey snot, and his strings are to die for. So outside of that, you also get a package that contains what some of you may recognize are 3D printed beglery and a little pick tool for your string, as well as a thing that you can use to pop out the actual yo-yo from the case nice and easy without doing any damage. Now, the Easter egg with our beglery at the start, as some of you may recognize here, it's also a 7-gram counterweight. Now, some people are questioning, thinking that's light. You can add weight to the back of it there, but it's a 35-gram throw that we always had in mind, hence the 7-gram counterweight to go with the 35-gram throw. So you can either rig her up like a pawn, you can put it backwards like that, make it like a little man in a hat, draw a face on her if you want there, or anything like that. It's just kind of a fun idea. So if you feel like playing 5A with a mini throw, you can do it out of the package. Nothing special needed. It's all right there for you. Now, as you'll see back here, I've got my own personal. It's one of our ano testers, actually. It's a B grade. Now, we don't actually sell any B grades at all. So we used them for testing around, playing with, doing different types of ano on them. And I was able to do a few little modifications to this. As some of you know, I was a modder beforehand, so I was able to get her spinning smooth, and she's now my personal little beater throw. Absolutely love this little half swap to death. Yeah, so on with that. They are 35 grams, 25.5 millimeters wide. With the large bearing installed, that's a 1.5 millimeters less if you have the narrow bearing installed. 3.9 millimeter gap width, or 2.9 millimeter gap width if you have the narrow bearing. So still quite a bit of room to work with the strings in there, especially for a small little throw. It is not a high wall by any means. You have enough to control in there, but she leaves you pretty open. And as you can see, it's a pretty wide gap, especially for something so small at 25.5 millimeters wide. You can literally drop your finger onto that. She will grind a little bit for you nicely. You can play around with the Matador spikes. As you can see there, they are sharp, but they are not the sharpest things in the world. So it's not like you're going to pierce your fingers trying to land a finger spin or anything. They're quite nice at that, especially when you get that feeling of right on the center first land. It's perfect. You can do pull starts like nothing. You can pull start into finger spins. There's endless possibilities you can do with Matadors. And when they're designed properly, they don't prevent you from the other possibilities. So it's not a limiting factor in the throw. It's an enhancement. And to be honest, I love it better than the other stacking options. It adds much less center mass to the throw, and you still get all the same advantages. So either way, moving on to unboxing her here. We'll go over the other package with the rims after we've done the unboxing. So, nice 3D printed box. Give it a little slide to the side. First thing you're going to find in there is your instruction manual. Now not your instruction manual, but your little congratulatory card. It goes over the Bangarang, basically kind of sets you up into what you're going to be playing for. Also gives you all of our contact information and, all the liabilities, etc. Always read that first. Moving on from that. It is a nice nice little boombox style case. As you can see here, it's kind of themed directly after a boombox, but it's missing something. Boombox should have an antenna hanging at the top there. So remember, before you go to pull any of this out and start assembling, reach in the bottom here. You've got your little bearing tool. Use your finger and thumb, give it a little pull out, a little twist, and there you go. So when you're playing with the throw and you don't want to put that back in for the moment, there's a nice little hole in the top of the box. Slide that right into it, and voila, there's your boombox with the antenna. So in the meantime, you've got 3 bearing options right out of the box here. You've got your A-spec, flat, fixed, your A-spec flat, narrow, and an A-spec concave wide. If you just want to do standard modern play, that's your go-to bearing right there. If you want to have some fun with a little bit of fixed axle and, literally play it like an old school throw, that right there works great. You can use it with poly, it's slippy enough, or you can use it with cotton, it works great. You don't have to do anything different to the response, just pop her in. There's one axle that works with all of these options here. I'll go over that in a few minutes here, but literally, you don't have to change anything in the center, worry about, swapping this or swapping that. It's just one axle, all your play style is ready to go. This bearing right here is a little unique. It is a, what was the spec on it again? It's a half spec, actually no, not quite a half spec, sorry. It's a 3 mil wide A flat. Now the nice thing about this little bearing is they are lightning fast out of the box. Just a tiny, tiny little one. You can play this thing as a modern narrow, like basically a modern style full narrow, or you can absolutely pack that full of Vaseline or silicone lube, pop it in there, and it will be a semi-responsive fix similar to like a 1-drop deep state. Great throw, absolutely great throw there. So you can play it just like that in your pocket, or on top of that, you can use this bearing, run it completely dry, and pop on the rims that we're going to go over in a few minutes here, and play it for 4A as well, if you want to be adventurous. Now, we've thoroughly tested this for 4A. We've landed on everything from grass to carpet to hardwood to concrete. It doesn't drop its rims. Have fun. That's what they're there for. You can print out new sets of these. You'll be able to order new sets of these off of us. We've got Delrim ones coming, but the best thing about them is they've also got an O-ring on the center that protects your throw from getting smashed around or anything like that while you're playing 4A. So for the brave, if you really feel like trying an off-string titanium, technically this would be the first out there, and knock yourselves out and have some fun. So that being said, we've got your tool out, select the bearing you want to do. Let's, in this case here, go with the, there we go, the nice modern concave. So that is a 5x10x4, 5 millimeter center, 4 millimeter wide, 10 millimeter diameter. Nice little bearing option. So you've got the throw here. Like I said, you can use this little tool here to pop these out. They can be fairly tight, but if you use the bottom section there, go right in the groove, or you can use your fingers if you got a fingernail. But if you don't and you're like me, just pop it in there, give a little lift. There's your throw, no damage. Keep in mind which half you're pulling out of which side. These are weight matched from factory. When you're dealing with a 35-gram titanium throw, it is very, very light. You put a stainless steel axle in the middle of it there, especially one that has marking for a tooling, as they all do, and all of a sudden you have an uneven weight distribution. So the easiest way to compensate for an absolute smooth throw is to sit there and actually weight match that axle. Now, we've already done that for you instead of putting you through the work of having to figure out why it's doing this or why it's doing that. So the direction that your axle is facing is the side of the throw it goes into. So remember, when you pull up your axle there and look, the side that was to the right goes into the right throw. So in this case, it's got the tool side there, so that goes into the right half of the throw. Yeah, this thing's tiny, I know, so small. Either way, we've machined the bearing seats very, very nice on them. Most of them are just a press fit. If they're not, we've included the tool, and it's just a hair over, not anything that's going to cause galling issues or any of that. There we go. Nicely on there. The bearings for the concave, the wide ones like this, come pre-lubed from factory. We haven't done the other one because you have so many options of how you can run it. So we've left that dry. If you want to put Vaseline or anything like that in there, go ahead and knock yourself out. That one never needs lube, of course, but these ones are pre-lubed from factory, pre-lube, pre-conditioned, pre-run in, so you're good to go out of the box. You shouldn't have anything jam up. Now on top of that, we also have thoroughly tested these throws to be pocket worn. You can throw this in your pocket. The way that we've actually got the wall set up with the bearing seat in here, it is done to such a nice tolerance that you can be playing around, dusty environments. You can throw it in your pocket with lint and everything else. I haven't had to clean the bearing on the prototype even since we got them in. That's been over, at this point now, 5-6 months of play, and we haven't even had to touch it. So it's just a beautiful thing. So like I said, you've got 25.5 millimeter gap width, which is actually pretty wide for being something so small, especially when it's displayed like this. It's kind of a funky shape. You look at it from the front and it's almost like you'd think it would be an organic or just a straight V, and you get to the center and there's quite a bit. So titanium was really the only option of metal we could do to make this design actually work. It's got some points in here that are extremely thin wall, like extremely thin wall. And it's got some points in here where we've obviously had to beef it up to get that kind of retro styled modern, I don't know, a new wave modern but retro throw. So something from the early 2000s kind of look to mid 2000s. We pushed hard to kind of get that look and that feel back into it, as well as, throwing back that 90s style vibe. So our idea here was to make you smile when you open the box, give you that feeling like this isn't a competition throw. This is designed to throw extremely well, extremely different, and be like nothing else you have. So that being said, being at 35 grams and so small like it is, we tried to incorporate the feeling into it where it's not a brick. Now, I found with most small mini throws that, they always try to pack the power onto it to get the stability and the weight back down because they're going to such a small size, and I understand it. But every time I picked one up, I was slightly disappointed just over the basis that they all had that same kind of rock on the string feeling when you were throwing them. They were great for the pocket. You could take them anywhere. They were all quite capable, but they just kind of lacked in that department. I always felt you could kind of gain the stability through other means and worked on that quite a bit. So I've actually had the design for this throw in my head for a few years now. And I'm really glad it finally came to fruition here. It's, that we've incorporated everything into this from weight and mass distribution to airflow dynamics, if you can actually believe it. There's quite a lot of distribution factors going on within the throw and how it actually works to stabilize itself through the air. So I think you'll be delightfully surprised when you give it a chuck and have some fun with it. It's a feather, but it doesn't climb. It's a whole new experience. So on top of that, after you've got it together like that, say you've played for a while as a mini and you just want to beef it up, or you want to be able to take a big size throw somewhere, but you don't have a lot of pocket space. That'll fit in your pocket, no problem as it is. You don't have to worry. It's nice solid titanium. She's not going to crush in on you or nothing like that. Good and solid. However, you can take our pop-on rims with you as well in another pocket. Wherever you get to, if you want to throw a full size instead of a mini, and I'm not gonna lie here, minis can be a challenge. It's a trick, it's an art form, as yo-yoing already is. But the time you get down to something so small like this, it definitely takes a little bit more skill to it than most would imagine. So we advertise this thing not as a beginner throw by any means. It is definitely a more advanced thrower's option. If a beginner picks it up, I'm not gonna lie, it's smooth, it's stable, but it could frustrate you. It's tiny, it's very tiny. But it does have, like I said, quite a wide gap for what it actually is. It hits the strings pretty easy, but it's not your beginner's weapon of choice. It is, however, your all-in-wonder and old-school thrower's weapon of choice. It'll throw how you want, any way you want, any day you want. We've got over 12 designs of rims ready to go that you can download and print yourself if you're a 3D print aficionado. You do get this one set in the package with it, and we also have a kit coming out that's going to have a set of titanium rims and a set of Delrin rims in the kit. Nice advantage with the titaniums is you can change up the color of the throw, the colorway, you can pop it on, change it however you want. Or if you want to spark a Bangarang but you don't want to destroy this little beauty, you can spark those titanium rims and just put them aside, keep them as your sparkers, bring those out when you want to show off to the friends, and not have to worry about harming such a little beauty. So either way, here's the beautiful thing. No oil, no nothing needed. Here's that rim. When you get to wherever you want, pop them out of your pocket. Give them a little press on like so. Make sure it's nicely seated. I usually like to go from the inside here, just kind of grab it like that. Give it a push, and then same thing. Grab your other one. Give it a push on there. We've designed these rings so that they can't roll over. There's enough capture way within the inside there. And with the ring being in the rim rather than on the throw itself is fully capable of being mini on its own, or you can pop these on. Now, the moment you have these bad boys on that it comes with, you go from 35 grams of a mini titanium up to 52.5 grams. You see you get that nice wide organic shape, but still with that large gap. It has the nice Matador spikes in the center, and she is just a beautiful little thing. Now, the nice thing about it too is you can take your titanium out. Say you're worried about hitting the ground, hitting this, you want someone to try it, but you're not quite sure. You've got plastic rims on. They're not going to pop off easy. Like, they take a good impact. You can put these in your pocket as they are. You can put it on a yo-yo holster, a standard one at this point, without it worried about falling out. Like, they do not come off easy. They are on there, good and solid. We've done 4A testing and everything with them. So by the time you get these on, you're protected to take this thing out and about. You can take your beautiful titanium throw wherever you go with you and throw it carefree over concrete, over asphalt, over whatever you want, because these things are going to take the beating if anything ever does happen. They're still fully capable with it. However, they are 3D printed. Now, that being said, we've got a knack for it. We do it pretty good, but everything 3D printed will still have little flaws in it. No matter how you put these on, no matter which way you rotate them, they're going to have a slight bit of vibe. And I say vibe, not wobble. Wobble and pulse vibe is a whole different thing. It's completely unplayable. If you have just a slight bit of vibe, it's not a playability issue whatsoever. However, they do instantly increase the power. They take that high spin time that you've already got, being a small throw as it is, and they just massively amplify it out. It's, as Doc Pop said, it's kind of a backwards routine here. So we've got a titanium core with the plastics on the outside, as opposed to being a plastic center with, a stainless steel or a brass or a titanium rim put onto it. So it's like a reverse biomaterial for sure, but it works. It's great. It's stable. It's super, super fun. It's a great go-to anywhere throw, super comfortable shape. And it brings it up to pretty much that of like a full-size small organic. It's larger than a 44 at this point. They're just a lot of fun. So all of the O-rings that we have to go with it are these little pink Durameter ones. They're nice, they're long lasting. You don't really have to lube them to push them on there. Like I said, it's all designed for a very nice, beautiful, tight fit. And the nice thing is you have no groove. There's nothing to actually hold that ring. So when it's apart, it's not like, a throw missing a piece and, you can throw it as a mini core. But it is what it is. It's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful mini that has the option to be modular. Now, we've worked some science and some little bit of miracles in here, of course, with the engineering to get all that to work. But I think you'll be delightedly surprised at how much you can actually do with this and how much this can actually become an EDC for you, not just a novelty on a shelf or something pretty that sits in a little boom box, but you'll have this boom box sitting on your shelf. This will be in your pocket all the time. So remember, weight distribution, remember the axle direction, remember which half came from which side. It's pretty easy. You don't have to worry as you're playing, but when you take it apart, just note which side the axle's in. Put the axle in like that and put the side that it came out into the opposite. It's pretty easy. We do all of our finishing in-house here. Every bit of anodization. This one is the Wildberry Fission that we do. So it's a nice bright aquamarine blue with this heavy fuchsia purpley pink. We've got a lot of different colorways, as you can see back here. There's some of what's left from first batch at the current moment. These ones I absolutely love. I'm surprised that it hasn't gone yet. This is our Stardust. So I don't know if the camera's quite focusing there. You've got the beautiful golds and the machine silvers all over it, but in between each layer, I'll see if I can get it to focus. Maybe. There's black highlight on every bit of gold going around every single edge as you go on these. So every single accent line, everything is highlighted, tiger stripe. We've got a few little tricks of the trade. Like, we're not just doing straight splash ano jobs here. We know what we're doing. When I say we, I mean myself and my wife. We both work on these together. We come up with the colorways. I end up executing them a lot of the time for the large batches, but she's always there side by side with me when we're figuring out what to do. So that being said, you can throw the Bangarang for fixed axle play. You can throw it for modern semi-unresponsive. You can throw it for modern full unresponsive. You can throw it for 4A play. You can throw it for 5A play. And it's probably the first titanium 4A to actually exist out there. Now, all of this exists in one package, being the best thing. So that's a lot of different combinations. A lot of different combinations for one different throw. You'll pretty much never get bored with this little creature. more or less an all-in-wonder. This isn't going to be the one hit either. We've got a few more designed afterwards that are going to be along the same category as this. Obviously not the same design as the Bangarang, but our goal here with titanium is to produce more consistently under the purpose of trying to bring down the cost consistently of titanium. So currently we're at launch of what a standard titanium would be, starting around the 300 mark. Actually 275, sorry, is where we started. Then we go up to about 340 depending the finish option you choose. We are trying to effectively bring that down as we go and see, titanium throws touch more of the market. As it currently is, it takes about, the price of 3 standard throws to get you to a titanium. But we'd like to see that be around, 2. Reason being is if titanium is utilized proper within a throw, there's huge advantages to what you can do within the material, within the airflow dynamics, and within the feel and general properties of the throw. It gets the industry out of that kind of stagnant feel. When you're stuck to aluminums and other materials like that, it's a little bit of a different ballpark. It works quite nicely. It always has. There's beautiful aluminum throws out there, but I feel to get a change and to get kind of a new feeling going, titanium is really the next generation, the way to go for it. So pretty much everything we produce from Laid Back is either going to be a beautiful titanium or something small in a little Delrin or a plastic biomaterial that we're looking at, but there's not really going to be much in between there. So hope you guys all enjoy. Yeah, have a great afternoon. Happy throwing.